Just as I was wrapping up my first video in 6 months about Wayfinder, Airship Syndicate comes out of nowhere and drops a load of great news that anyone interested in Wayfinder should know about. So I'm scrapping the original plan of that video that was already made and covering the huge amount of news that was just released. But before I get to that, if you are at all interested in Wayfinder or gaming news in general, please feel free to subscribe and leave a like. It would be greatly appreciated as I post videos weekly. Also, if you could leave a comment saying what you are looking forward to in Wayfinder, I'm curious to know, so leave that down below. Alright, so what new information do we have about the game? At the conclusion of the last closed beta test, the developers poured over tons of feedback and data from the community and offered some perspective about the game. They highlighted that the closed beta test was a success with a record number of players participating and providing valuable feedback along the way. One of the key items that I personally found was that they closed over 2,000 bugs since the test. These were bugs relating to combat movement, targeting, defensive maneuvers, and so much more. Excitingly, they are still ready for the game to release later this summer, but more on that later. In the blog post, they touched a bit on short and long-term progression plans in the game and how they are working to enhance it to allow players for more flexible and meaningful progression options. The ability to choose the order of abilities to unlock will be introduced, this is huge, and player progression will be implemented at the account level to ensure players don't feel limited when playing different characters or trying out different weapons. The system will be available at launch, it sounds like, and it will be made to incentivize players to try out different characters and not always feel tied down to their main. Another category they touched on was the ecosystem, which will be simplified and categorized to provide clear choices for the players. For example, these categories will be simplified to things like attack, defense, and kind of names in that vein. A big highlight that I pulled is that enemy encounters will now feel more varied, and it'll create a more engaging gameplay experience. One example they give is that you may find weaker swarming enemies around larger and more powerful enemies. Improvements to the social systems of the game are also being made, including enhancements to the chat system, localized chats based on language, and the option to queue as a duo and proceed with just 2 players. More importantly, they quote-unquote say, at its heart, Wayfinder is a social game, which is awesome to hear. They did also highlight some changes made prior to the global closed beta, with several highly requested features and improvements that were already implemented, such as a jump dash, movement speed increases, camera system overhauls, and performance optimizations. The devs reiterated their commitment to developing Wayfinder as a long-lasting online multiplayer RPG and expressed the importance of player feedback in shaping the game's evolution. So if you guys have not already joined the game's Discord or wishlist the game on Steam, you should absolutely do that. And with that being said, they did encourage players to wishlist the game on Steam, PlayStation, and the Epic Games Store, and promised to provide more information about early access and actually the talk of Founders Packs coming a little bit soon down the line. With the background gameplay that you're seeing now, a glimpse into what the future of the game holds, I cannot be more excited for the game's early access release later this summer. Again, if you're excited for Wayfinder or if you enjoyed the video, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing, but I'll catch you guys all in the next video.